What's going on, guys? Right on me, teacher in the house, and we're back with the GPL Week 4 Pickems for Hoenn. And by way, of course, I mean myself and my amazing co-host, Exo. How are you doing, man?
Oh, that's me. What's going on, everybody? I'm doing pretty good.
Alright, and on the screen right now, you can see the results from week number 3. This week was way closer than the Johto League for this week. Exo narrowly took this one by 1 point, taking us to 12 and 13. So we're still well and truly in it, and my green screen decides to have some fun, but we go with it. Alright, so if you haven't seen Pickems before, where the hell have you been? But either side on me on the screen right now are two people that are playing each other this week. Exo and I are going to break down strengths and weaknesses on both sides, if there are any, and of course we will predict a winner and a score. So, first up on the docket is going to be the Rain God Poker versus the struggling I Need Help Ted for Prez. How do you see this one going, Exo?
Well, I think Ted's showdown name sort of says it for itself. I think he does need help this game. Poker is extremely scary. He doesn't have much for Rain. I mean, he's got like the Virizion, but I mean, Pelipper has Hurricane, Kingdra has Hurricane. I think Rain is extremely scary for Ted. I mean, Duraludon's there, and it does have like that Solar Beam tech that we've seen from Mew, but there's not many things because like he doesn't have a strong electric type. His grass type is 4 times weak to hurricanes, which are going to be all over. So I'm very highly leaning towards poker side this game.
Yeah, and the other side about this with Virizion as well is Ted has not really played Virizion at all well, all season as well. So even though it is his best answer, we haven't seen enough from it to really kind of be convinced by it. Looking at it, I mean, Duraludon has enough moves to be able to deal with it. It does get Thunderball as well, but then has to be careful of healing Zeraora up. Tyler. But yeah, there's a lot of issues, really, that I don't see Ted being able to break. I mean, Rain itself is terrifying, and then just add Zeraora onto that mix. It's like, okay, this is kind of scary. Because Zeraora gets enough coverage moves to be able to break the entirety of this team. So that's a big problem. Honestly, like, as much as I would love to give Ted a lot of praise, I find it very difficult. It's very hard to see an avenue for him to be able to win this game in Rain. I can even see the Gooey Goodra sets that I used to love bringing from last season causing issues for things like the Scolipede and the Alzu. But yeah, I feel like this is a pretty convincing one for Poker. I'm actually going to be on the side of I think Poker's going to 6-0 this week.
Wow, it's definitely it might happen. Definitely might happen. Okay, so I think Ted's gonna get a kill. I'm gonna go 5-0 Poker.
All right. So, next up on the list is gonna be Solo Destroyer versus Tyler. Oh man. So, honestly, when I first looked at this, I actually don't hate Tyler's matchup at all. I think Tyler's matchup isn't that bad. It could definitely be better. But Rotomosh actually looks kind of problematic if he brings a Scarf set. Obviously being able to outspeed an Oko to Cinderace unless it maxes, and then the Cinderace doesn't really do much back. Things like the Lycanroc don't really beat Rotomosh all that well. Serena could be a problem, but then there's a G-Max Gengar sitting there as well as an Arcanine, and potentially a Galarian Dom if it hits up the Zen mode. So that's something to look at. Could be a very, very interesting matchup. I think Tyler has a lot of tools. My concern with Tyler is kind of not really how well he's been playing. Like, he's just not got a lot in the locker. We keep seeing this Teleport Arcanine set, which, you know, it's cool. Arcanine gets Teleport. We get the picture. We've seen it 3 games in a row now. But I feel like the Arcanine's teleporting is actually not helping Tyler at all.
Honestly, I think it was okay. because like in the last game, of course, he was versing me. I switched Sand Slash into him every single time, which teleporting out sort of, it gives him switch momentum, which, to be fair, it was helping him, but I think there's plenty of sets that would do way better, especially in this matchup. I mean, it learns close combat, it learns Scorching Sands even. He has a lot of tech that he can bring for like a lot of these Pokemon that Solo's probably going to bring, like Hydreigon, maybe even Bisharp too, so... yeah, I honestly think Arcanine can do a lot of work if he just brings an offensive set this week.
Yeah, we've seen 3 defensive sets, and, you know, they've been decent, but they've been far from convincing. We kind of need to see more. Also interested to see if he realizes about Scale Shot Haxorus right now. That set's been running around causing a bit of riot at the moment. He brought Dragon Dance against you, of course. So it's kind of interesting. Like, Tyler's got a lot of tools here. Like, there are plenty of win conditions. My question is he going to be able to prep effectively this week? Because I felt like against you, he just didn't have a good matchup and prepped poorly. So this time I'm expecting to see better prep, because Solo is not going to mess around. If you give him half an inch, he's taking 10 miles. The guy is not the kind of player that you could afford to not prep well against. Looking at Solo's team though, like even things like Scarf Dragon could be annoying, could definitely cause problems with outspeed, things like a Dom and stuff like that, and obviously Gengar. Hydreigon definitely has a very strong matchup here. It gets a lot of coverage to hit everything. Lycanroc, kind of a questionable matchup, but I think it is actually pretty strong if it does get set up. Bronzong does get Psychic Terrain, which could cuck the double priority that Lycanroc does bring. But even then, like, that's move slot syndrome and having to bring Bronzong, and I'm not entirely convinced by Bronzong's matchup in general. So honestly, this would come down to like better matchup on paper versus better executor from what I'm looking at this. And based on that, I usually tend to prefer the Executor, because I generally think even on a weaker team, a better player can generally win their matchups. So I am going to give this one to Solo. I don't think it's going to be a big win, no, but I think Solo wins 3-0.
Yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, and he said that it's a really good mon. Grapploct looks actually pretty good in this matchup. Like, not even lying. I mean, Fighting does well in this matchup. It learns Liquidation for, like, the Cinderace. It learns Sucker Punch for, like, I guess the Golurk, and maybe even Gardevoir can hit it decently well. It's not a bad matchup in this match. So, like, if he brings it, and he does some work, I wouldn't be surprised.
Could definitely see it under Trick Room of Bronzong now, obviously. But yeah, it has to come, and it has to do something. Especially after he hyped it up in his draft breakdown video.
Yeah. But that being said, Solo is just too consistent in my opinion, whereas Tyler's usually all over the place. Sometimes he does really well, sometimes he does not so much. I'm gonna give it to Solo. I'm gonna say he's going to 4-0.
Alright. Next up on the list is going to be the two very inconsistent players. It's going to be Skinny versus Galaxy. Galaxy, of course, still chasing his first win of the season. Skinny, of course, got a win or two under his belt, obviously a forfeiture, and actually won relatively well last week. This one's a close one as well. I actually kind of like how tight the G-Max matchup is. Obviously, Rillaboom does get the Dark-type moves for Orbeetle, but Orbeetle is naturally very bulky. So that could be an interesting one. Of course, Orbeetle packing webs could definitely provide issues. Volcarona not appreciating webs. Neither things like the Slurpuff and stuff like that. But there is decent enough removal on the Noivern, the Volk, and the Starmie. All decent removers. So, could definitely be an interesting one. Galaxy, I've been not super convinced by with his builds in general. Like, we've heard a lot about his good team building, but I've not seen it really come to fruition yet, which is kind of concerning. Looking at the Volcarona and kind of looking at Galaxy's team, I kind of get worried. Volk, of course, gets Giga Drain, which hits the Rhydon, which can be a bit of a problematic situation. Obviously, Bug Buzz hits Persian really decently difficult. Obviously, Persian does get Power Gem, so that could be something to bear in mind. Persian naturally outspeeds Volk, so that would be one that Skinny would have to be aware of. and stuff like that. Dusclops is very fat. I'm trying to see a way for Skinny to break the Dusclops, and I'm not seeing an easy way for that to happen, with the Dark type being Thievul, which is not that great. Toxicroak gets Sucker Punch if it sets up, but it can easily just get burned. I don't see an easy way to break the Dusclops, if I'm honest. I think Rillaboom's probably the best bet.
The thing is, Rillaboom doesn't have that good of a matchup here. I mean, you got Corviknight that can completely wall it. Honestly, that's all you need. Yeah, I mean, Persian Fur Coat can take a hit or two. Even Orbeetle can take a hit and dish out a lot of damage, especially with a bug move. I don't actually think Rillaboom's coming this game.
No, I don't see it either. And that makes Dusclops even more scary.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unusual to think about that, but Dusclops is incredibly bulky with access to Will-O-Wisp as well as Hex, and I think it gets Poltergeist as well now. So that causes a lot of issues. And then obviously Pain Split can just heal off all the bulkier mons. Could definitely cause some problems. Dusclops is kind of bulky, so I'll be interested to see if it does come and how well it's used. Looking at other tools for Skinny though, Volk, if it can get set up, can cause a lot of problems, but I feel like it needs a Quiver Dance or two. And that might be the bugbear for it.
Especially with stuff like Dusclops has Haze as well, so even if he gets set up, he's not going to one-shot that Dusclops, so he can easily just Haze.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to be tough for him to break Dusclops. I know Thievul has like knockoff, but physical Thievul isn't the best, and I don't know if you'd want to bring that.
No, it doesn't have enough physical attack at all. It's better on the special side, and even then, like, just run Spadef on Dusclops and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like Galaxy has enough walls to handle Skinny's team. It's just, I don't see the best offense. Like, yes, Corviknight can set up and be actually a menace, but like, it needs to set up, it'll need a bit of time. We've seen him kind of sack Heliolisk turn 1 once or twice, so I'm not convinced by that one. Galaxy's got a lot of great bulk, and that's kind of what makes this an interesting one. You know what? I feel like Galaxy this time, if he can play his defensive calls properly and not kind of let them get worn down too easy, I think he wins this one. We do see Skinny go from the Sublime to the Ridiculous quite often. I'm gonna give this one to Galaxy. And I'm gonna back him to 2-0.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a little bit of insight, because Galaxy usually likes to show me his team, and they're like, hey, do I have answers to like everything and stuff like that. So I have a little bit of insight. I think, like you said, if he can play around a few of the threats and he can use his walls pretty well, that he can definitely win this one. Especially if Skinny maybe throws away a mon or two. I think he doesn't have many switch-ins.
Who gets foul play on this team? Persian.
Persian gets it, yeah.
Who else gets foul play? Because I'm just thinking, let's Slurpuff might try and set up again and die again to a foul play.
Well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure Corviknight takes a +6 anything very easily. Like, I think even at +6 Drain Punch to it does like 40%, maybe 45%. So it can just root stall it with like Rocky Helmet or something. But yeah, I think Galaxy's gonna win this one, and I'm gonna say, oh, how much do I think? I think it's gonna be a 1-0, because I know Skinny can definitely win this one, but I have to give it to Galaxy here.
Alright. That means next up on the battle is actually one I'm probably the most excited for, actually. It's going to be Pelly, who's very much on his trash talk game right now, versus Rabbit, who's kind of quietly going about it and being Mr. 4-0 consistent. He either wins his games 4-0 or loses them 4-0, which is kind of an interesting tale to start off with. Oh man, I'm really excited for this, and I also have no idea where to call it.
Yeah, as we've seen before, Pelly brings the same 5 mons, but it doesn't matter because it's Pelly, and Pelly can do random things and find out different ways to break down teams, and it's really scary, honestly, because like you would think, oh, Drake is probably gonna run either Scarf or Ban. No, he brings Sub, and like I just think that's pretty insane that there's a bunch of sets that even I don't know about, and he can bring and do really well with. So the thing is, though, Rabbit does the same thing where he brings weird sets. Sometimes they work, other times I don't know why he brings them, but they still work. So,
I just admire Rabbit's creativity. I think it's hilarious. Definitely was funny to see Physical Alola Ninetales picking up a kill with Triple Axel. That was definitely kind of fun. But honestly, like looking at this, like on paper, I feel like Pelly's team is a little bit stronger. Obviously, Rabbit has got a lot of creative outlets. Rabbit does, of course, have the best mon in the game. Rabombi, of course, for anyone wondering. The changes, though, to Rabbit's team kind of worry me slightly. I don't necessarily agree with some of these changes, but I do agree with the Rabombi pickup. Lantern is kind of interesting. Not sure. Well, actually, Lantern has an okay matchup here. Obviously, being immune to Dracozold's Volbeak thanks to Volt Absorb could give it an issue. Lantern does get Ice Beam as well, so that could be a thing, but Dracozold does hit incredibly hard. I don't think Lantern can ever switch in on it if it goes for like a Dragon Claw or something. So Corviknight versus Grimmsnarl. I generally prefer Corviknight. Obviously we know Grimmsnarl gets fire moves. Gets Burning Jealousy as well as Fire Punch, so it can run either side of the physical special conundrum. But Corviknight does hit really hard, especially with steel moves. So this is a tough one, because I feel like if both sides play standard, I favor Pelly. But we know both of these guys tend to bring rather creative sets. I feel like this is one, though, that if Rabbit does turn up, I wouldn't put it past him to win this.
Yeah.
But the question is, can Rabbit turn up and pull this out of the hat? It's possible. I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility. But saying that, though, I am going to give this win to Pelly, which he's going to be excited about. I'm going to give him a 3-0.
Okay. So, yeah, definitely something to note. Grimmsnarl has Power Whip for the Quagsire, and the Lantern has, of course, Dark moves for the Marowak and Cursola. It has, of course, Fairy moves for, like, the Como. It's got Fire moves. Now, then again, he can't run, like, 6 moves on Grimmsnarl, but it does learn a ton of moves, and Rabbit does not... I mean, yeah, he beats the G-Max war, if you want to think about that, but if Pelly can weaken that Corviknight, not much that wants to take a Grimmsnarl on. So, because of that, I'm going to give Pelly the 4-0. I do want Rabbit to win, though. Just mind you.
Yeah, low-key, I also want Rabbit to win as well, but I can't back him objectively. I have to back Pelly. Alright. That means last up on the docket is a clash between two co-hosts. It's going to be Exo versus Transel. Oh man, like I actually feel like your changes have just come in like perfect time for this matchup, because all three of like Hatteran, even Galvantula is actually kind of problematic. Galvantula can generally take on Mandibuzz and Tentacruel pretty well, which is a very, very solid pickup. The only pickup that you made that I'm not 100% sold on for this matchup is Glaceon. I don't think Glaceon is all that great here, but generally speaking, your team is actually very strong against his, which is kind of scary. I feel for Transel in this one.
Yeah. I honestly, for him, like, I don't know what he's going to be bringing for both the Hatterene and Melmetal. I mean, you have to prep either max physical on like a bunch of your mons or max special, and he can do 3 mons, but then you don't have offense, and how are you going to break down those Pokemon? And so I don't know. I mean, okay, it's Transel. I do think he can easily win, because as you know, I do throw pretty often, but if I Yeah, I could actually see him. I could see him maybe even bringing like Heatwave Mandibuzz for like the Melmetal. That would be pretty fire because like we do know foul play is a thing, but Melmetal does have a lot of defense, so like Heatwave is pretty cool. The Dragapult could be pretty threatening to a lot of my team because it does have Flamethrower, it does have like Shadow Ball, so it can hit both the Melmetal and Hatterene. I think he has answers for my Pokemon. It's just going to be hard because he doesn't have many switch-ins.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems, and obviously Transel mechanically is one of the stronger players we have, but he's not had the best season so far, so it's pretty much who throws is going to be it, but I feel like, honestly, I don't see either player throwing. I feel like your matchup is just way too strong. I don't think he has enough answers for everything, and that's kind of the big problem. Usually when these matchups can be close, it's because both sides have got clear answers, but in this one, it's like, yeah, even like Unaware Clef is like, okay, it's fine, but obviously it gets Flamethrower and Fire Blast for Melmetal, but I don't think it kills, it's a Clef, and stuff like that. So like, it really does cause a lot of issues where he just hasn't got the maneuverability to be able to easily play around you. And I feel like your pivoting is generally better than his. So, looking at this, obviously, on this instance, as much as I usually tend to back Transel, I feel like I have to back you on this week. The question is, how many Pokemon are you going to throw away? Or how many times is he going to catch you off guard? That's going to be the interesting one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to back you pretty strongly. I'm going to give you a 4-0.
Wow, okay. I don't even think I was going to back myself that high. Alright, so just something to note. If he's not running speed investment or not running a lot of speed investment, Melmetal can actually outspeed and kill the Clef. If he's not running speed investment or not running a lot. So that's definitely something to note, because Melmetal with Double Iron Bash, okay, it could be unaware, but it's not living a choice band to Double Iron Bash. I'm going to tell you that right now. So yeah. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to put myself in. And I'm going to say... I'm gonna say 1-0. I think it's gonna be a close game. Yeah. Somehow. Like, I'm gonna throw something.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. But either way, of course, that is going to round out our pick and predictions. Let us know, of course, how you think we're gonna head, or how you think the matches are gonna turn up in the Pickem section and the Discord. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Rabombi Teacher. That's Exo.
Yup, that's me.
Stay safe. Stay awesome, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.